Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn to Code with Noob. So today we will be discussing a bit about how to write custom hooks. So before discussing how to write custom hooks, I will explain you what is the need of writing custom hooks. So let's dive into our video. All right. So before discussing further, I will just explain what I have as a sample code in front of you guys. So this is a React component again, right? So we have a useState hook, which has a status and set status. So what is going on is you have a useEffect hook, which basically runs a internal interval function which runs after every 2 seconds, and it basically sets the status of this function. So after 2 seconds it will just set the status as a success, and when this thing happens we will show an alert which says API success. So basically we are mimicking the behavior of an API call. And what happens in the return is we are basically cleaning up that interval ID. So this thing returns an interval ID and we are just clearing that interval. And the view portion is pretty straightforward. It basically shows us what is the status of this thing, right? Like it's basically printing the value of this thing. Okay, so pretty straightforward code, nothing complicated going on over here, right? So now let's move on to why we need a custom hook, right? What is the need of having a custom hook? So if you see this code, like this kind of code can be a very common thing which you can have in React app. So what I mean by that, so you can have a React app or a screen in which your common thing is, okay, when the screen opens you will hit an API and you will show the result of the API right on the screen. That's what you want to do, and you want to do it on every screen, let's say, right? So if you are doing it on every screen, you're basically copying and pasting this whole thing, right? Copying and pasting it using the hooks, right? So by writing custom hook, what you can do is you can extract that component in a custom hook and then you can reuse it as many times you want. Alright, so let me show you how this code looks like right now. It's not a custom hook, right? So I will just open this demo project. Alright, so this screen opened. So after 2 seconds, we saw an alert, which is an API success, right? And we also saw the value of this success. That's it. Pretty straightforward, right? So you can have some use case like that, right? So how you can extract this whole functionality into a custom hook is by just this. So what I will do right now is I will have a function, right, which is named as use server. So basically we are following the React convention of defining hooks, and the convention is it starts with the name as use. And if we actually, I mean, we can name whatever we want, but it's good to name it in this convention. Like it starts with the use, and after that you have a name of the component of the hook. Sorry. And the other reason why we want to do it is because whatever the lint tools or lint rules are with the hooks, if you have a hook which is defined with use, it will actually give you all the errors for your custom hooks too. So you should, so I would recommend, like, we should always do that. Okay, So how we are going to extract it, it is pretty straightforward. So what I will do is I'll basically copy this whole functionality, right? And copy it, right, paste it over here. And what I'll do is I'll just return this status, right? So now in this home component, I will just say use server, right? It doesn't take any argument, and what it does is it returns a status, right? This is what we are doing, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So pretty simple example, and the reason why I have a simple example is so that you guys can understand pretty easily. Okay, so let's recap what I did. I basically did that, like basically copied and pasted that whole logic into a new function, basically a function, right? I copied and pasted it into a new function, and the only new thing which I did is I basically returned this status, right? Because over here, what I want to do is I want that status, whatever it is returned from this hook, I want to display it, right? So it can be the same thing. Okay, whatever the callback was or whatever the API was, whatever the response of that API is, I just want to return it, and that will be displayed over here. A very common scenario, right? So I mean, you can make this hook pretty smart. Like you can also add some properties in it. So you can just basically say what is the actual API which you want to hit, right? And you can also supply as a function, right? So you can supply as many properties you want, right? So it is pretty flexible. So you don't have to like, it is not like a specific signature. Okay, the hooks cannot take any properties. Hooks can take any properties, and you can not return a result. Like if you don't care about the results, so for example, if you have a logic which is basically hits an API and just shows this alert, and if you don't want to observe this response, you can choose not to return anything, right? So so this is a basic difference between a hook and a component, which is React. So unlike a React component, so in the React component, you have to like return something, right? You have to say, okay, I want to return something. So unlike a React component, a custom hook doesn't need to have any specific signature. So we can decide like whatever arguments it wants to take, and if we want to return something or not. So in other words, it's basically a normal function. So yeah, that is a quick overview of how you can use custom hooks and why we should use custom hooks. Thank you.